The sun had barely risen over the city, its golden light catching the glass towers and bouncing off the cracked pavement of the streets below. At the corner of Ninth and Grove in the shadow of skyscrapers, Daniel Reyes crouched beside a rusty sedan. His hands were stained black with oil, his jeans ripped at the knees, his toolbox more duct tape than steel. To passersby, he was just another street mechanic, one of those men who lived from job to job, fixing whatever limped into his path for a handful of dollars. But for the neighborhood, Daniel was more than that. He was the guy who never said no, who charged what people could afford, who would sometimes fix a car for free if he saw worry in a mother's eyes. That morning, his daughter, Sophia, sat nearby on a milk crate, swinging her legs as she read aloud from a dog-eared schoolbook. Daniel's heart always softened when he heard her voice. He had promised her a better life, though so far that promise was stitched together with grease, stained rags, and late nights. The hum of an engine unlike any other broke the moment. A crimson Ferrari purred as it turned the corner, its polished body reflecting the morning light like fire. The car slowed, then stopped directly in front of Daniel's makeshift shop. Out stepped Victor Kane, CEO of a billion-dollar tech empire, a man whose face had graced business magazines and billboards, the kind of man who never had to look at price tags. Victor pulled off his sunglasses, his expression caught somewhere between annoyance and arrogance. "You the mechanic?" he asked, glancing at Daniel's patched-up overalls with thinly veiled doubt. Daniel stood, wiping his hands on a rag. "Depends on what you need fixed. My Ferrari," Victor said flatly, "is making a sound. Took it to my dealer yesterday. They told me I'd have to wait 3 weeks for service. 3 weeks is unacceptable. Someone told me you can work miracles with engines. Let's see if that's true." There was a pause. The people on the sidewalk slowed their steps, watching the unlikely exchange. Daniel nodded, motioning for Victor to pop the hood. He leaned in, listening closely as the engine idled. Within minutes, he spotted the issue, a misfiring sensor that wasn't giving proper airflow. He improvised a quick adjustment using nothing but a screwdriver and a strip of wire he pulled from his toolbox. When he straightened, his face was calm, confident. "Try it now." Victor slipped back into the driver's seat and revved the engine. The purr smoothed out instantly, running cleaner, sharper, stronger. Daniel had hit the problem precisely. Victor stepped out again, but instead of gratitude, laughter spilled from his chest, a mocking, rich man's laugh. "You've got to be kidding me. A piece of wire and a screwdriver. You expect me to believe you actually fixed it with that?" Daniel's jaw tightened, but he stayed composed. "Doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters that it works." Victor smirked, slipping his sunglasses back on. "You're a clever street magician, I'll give you that. But Ferrari engineers don't take advice from men who work under tents." He tossed a few bills onto Daniel's toolbox, more than Daniel usually saw in a day, less than Victor spent on his morning coffee. Without another word, the CEO slid back into his Ferrari and sped away, leaving the crowd murmuring behind him. Sophia's small hand slipped into her father's. "Daddy," she whispered, "why did he laugh at you? You fixed it." Daniel crouched down, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Sometimes people don't see what's real until they're ready. That's not our problem, my corazon. We just keep doing what's right." The next day, Daniel was working on an old pickup when his phone buzzed. A number he didn't recognize. He hesitated, then answered. "Is this Daniel Reyes?" The voice was sharp, professional. "Yeah, that's me. This is Marco Conti, chief engineer at Ferrari North America. We'd like you to come to our headquarters today." Daniel blinked. "I think you've got the wrong guy." "No," the voice pressed. "We got your name from Victor Kane. He said you touched his car yesterday. Whatever you did, it worked. Better than our diagnostics. He called you a genius." The word hung in Daniel's ear, almost surreal. Genius. The same man who laughed at him less than 24 hours ago. By afternoon, Daniel found himself standing in the pristine lobby of Ferrari's regional headquarters, Sophia's small hand in his. She looked around wide-eyed, taking in the marble floors and gleaming red cars displayed like art pieces. Engineers in crisp uniforms led Daniel to a private garage, where a team of specialists crowded around Victor's Ferrari. They explained that the car had been under review for weeks. An elusive airflow issue no one could quite pin down. Daniel's quick adjustment had not only fixed the problem, but also improved performance beyond their expectations. "Show us exactly what you did," Marco asked, handing Daniel a set of tools. Daniel swallowed hard, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. But, as he leaned over the engine, his nervousness melted into focus. He explained each step carefully, his voice steady, his hands precise. The engineers nodded, taking notes. Some exchanged looks of disbelief, others of admiration. When he finished, Marco stepped forward. "Mr. Reyes, we would like to offer you a position on our engineering team. Your instinct, your eye for detail, it's extraordinary." Sophia gasped, squeezing her father's arm. Daniel's throat tightened. He had dreamed of opportunities like this, but had buried those dreams beneath bills, long nights, and survival. And now, standing here with his daughter beaming up at him, the impossible had become real. Victor Kane entered then, his presence as commanding as ever. But this time his arrogance was gone. He looked at Daniel with something closer to respect, perhaps even humility. "I underestimated you," Victor admitted, his voice low. "I thought you were just another man on the street. Turns out you saw something my own people couldn't. I was wrong?" Daniel studied him for a long moment, then simply nodded. "Engines don't care about titles. They care about attention." The room fell quiet. Engineers, assistants, even Victor himself seemed moved by the simplicity of his words. Sophia broke the silence, her voice small but proud. "My daddy's the best mechanic in the world." Lauder, this time genuine, warm, echoed through the garage. Marco clapped Daniel on the back. "Your daughter might be right." That evening, as Daniel walked out of the headquarters hand in hand with Sophia, the city looked different. The same streets stretched before them, but possibility glimmered where struggle once loomed. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, whether he'd accept Ferrari's offer or keep fixing cars for neighbors who needed him most. But for the first time in years, he felt seen, respected, validated, not for the money in his pocket, but for the skill in his hands and the honesty in his heart. And as he lifted Sophia into his arms, her laughter echoing into the night, Daniel realized something. Sometimes life changes not in grand plans or careful steps, but in a single moment when the world finally notices the quiet genius you've been carrying all along.